So today's video is going to be a little bit different. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you all on a post on my YouTube channel to ask me questions if you wanted me to do a Q&A. And several of you did, and therefore I'm going to do my first Q&A here on YouTube. But while I do it, we're also going to wrap presents. I thought that would be a fun way to do it. You could get your presents, wrap with me while we chat about just whatever questions you guys have. Now, if you like wrapping presents, if you find it a fun part of the holiday season, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. So get your sweatpants, your sweatshirt, your tee, your presents, and let's get started. So the next question comes from Shannon. She writes, pop-ups on my phone, or not on my phone, on the computer, so annoying. How do you afford car cost? What is the best advice for people with older cars? So we have, we have currently, I've talked about this. I bought a new car in the beginning of 2020, and I saved up for 2 years to buy it, researched for 2 years to buy the best car. So that's probably my best advice. Number one is to make sure that you do your research on the car that you're getting. For instance, and know what you need. For me, I wanted an SUV, but I knew I didn't need a third row seat. I knew that I still wanted trunk space. I wanted leg room in the back, but I would never use a third row seat. It would just sit inside, just be laying down. So that was a waste to me. I also looked at gas. So in particular, there are certain types of cars and vehicles that require higher, more quality premium gas. And you know what? I'm not about that life. Gas is expensive enough as it is that I am not particularly in the mood to pay for premium gas. So that's one of the things in the fine print. Now, even the some cars that aren't luxury require that. So check that out before buying a car. As far as used cars, before we bought this past car, we had a Nissan Altima that had, I think, 150,000 miles on it. And then we also have currently a Honda Accord that has 150,000 miles on it. We traded the Nissan in. The best thing you can do is maintain it. If you can, then maintain it yourself, meaning, know how to rotate your tires or change the oil, or find a good person who can do that for you. As far as a local mechanic shop, etc., keep records of that, because that's also important when you go to do a resale, that you can show that you maintain the vehicle. For instance, my husband, he doesn't own my current vehicle, but he does on the other ones. Keeps receipts from the oil he buys, when he changes the oil, all of that stuff. So as far as saving up, that is one of those things that you can create. People call it a sinking fund, but to me, it's not a sinking fund. It's more a reserve fund. The same as you would for household repairs. If you wanted to, for when your washing machine dies, or when your roof needs to be replaced, or something small, you need to have an emergency fund. You can use it for that, or you can take $20 out of every month to put into a car maintenance fund. But you have to think about that ahead of time. And if it does come up and you didn't save for it, then you could use that as an emergency fund. But maintaining, I think it starts at the beginning. Buying the right vehicle. If you're buying used, having it checked out by a private mechanic. If checking the, what are those? The consumer reports. I was really big into checking consumer reports for what other people thought, as hopefully an unbiased opinion, and then maintaining it. Long-winded answer, but we're only one present in, so let's move on. The next question comes from Deborah Tosh. And there are 2 replies on this video. On this question. Let's see. She says, I would be interested in what kind of food you eat in a day. I find that people who don't eat meat or dairy have beautiful skin and hair, which you do. Thank you. She also says, I second that. I'm trying to cut out sugars and need a bit more, but I'm finding that leaves me with dairy and vegetables. I'd love to cut out dairy too, but all veggies all the time would not be good for my stomach. So what are you supposed to eat? And then Val, who is super sweet too, says, sometimes cooked veggies are easier. Also rice and pasta dishes. Well, so as far as my diet, so give you guys a history. I have always been a very picky eater, extremely picky. I'm talking, if you ask me what I don't eat, some people would say that, well, what all don't you eat? It's easier for me, would have been easier for me to tell you what I do eat. And I've also always had stomach issues. Well, I'm finding out more about my stomach issues that aren't just related to food now. However, as far as what I eat in 2020, beginning of 2020, I already did not like meat that much. Just didn't. And what I find is a lot of people who actually do like meat, what it is they like the sauce that it's cooked in. You know, they don't necessarily like the taste of it by itself. So when you look at it like that, there are alternatives, and there's more and more alternatives now in relation to meat alternatives. Anyway, I watched a video or a movie on Netflix called Game Changer, and it was not about, animal rights or anything like that, which obviously I do believe in too. But it was about how all these athletes had been completely plant-based and how they were superior athletes because of that, and how they actually did a test on I think 3 football guys or something, I don't know, and they had them like 2 of them ate cheesesteaks or beef steaks, and one of them ate a veggie cheesesteak, and then they tested their blood, and their blood was, they had their blood vials, and you could see the 3 blood vials, the 2 who ate meat, it was super cloudy. And then the one that didn't was super clear. And there's a lot of, just check it out if it's still on Netflix. It's a really good documentary. But then, so the people in my husband's office, they all decided to try to go plant-based for a while. Well, I thought, oh, hey, I'll try that too. They only lasted about 2 weeks because they tried to go cold turkey completely, no pun intended. But I maintained and actually found that I felt way better. Now at that time, I did not remove any dairy. So I was still eating cheese, ice cream, milk, cow milk, and everything. Well, as I began that journey, further along, I've cut this one too short, so I've got to redo. Anybody else do that? That's what I just did. As I began that journey further along, I started watching more documentaries about animal practices and agriculture, and really understanding what I was putting in my body and how people were treating the animals. And I had never thought that I could go completely plant-based. I thought I cannot live without cheese, I cannot live without dairy, but I tried it. And for the longest time, I ate a lot of vegetables. I ate a lot of potatoes. Now, the thing about me is I don't like nuts. I don't like peanut butter. I don't like jelly. I don't like cereal. I don't like a lot of things. But what I found was I was able to figure out new and different ways to cook vegetables. And I always have to have a carb. Now, removing carbs is going to be something very difficult for me. So what I was eating was a lot of potatoes. Well, more recently, I was still finding that I have had stomach issues. So I did a blood test on Everlywell, where they mail it to you. And what I found out was one of my higher food sensitivities was with potatoes, white potatoes. Yeah, that was devastating because I would eat potatoes 2-3 times a day. So since then, I have cut out potatoes, believe it or not, and I now realize that I think potatoes were the problem all along. Now, I still cannot eat meat. If I eat meat, I get sick immediately. I had no problem, however, getting rid of milk. I thought I would be devastated, but I found Planet oat milk. I didn't like any other kinds of oat milk. I don't like the Oatly. I don't like the Aldi brand. The Planet Oat regular oat milk and the chocolate oat milk of it are freaking delicious. So that solves that problem. People come a long way with vegetarian options. Now I say when you go out to eat, it's very difficult. One of my favorite places to go is Chipotle. I always get tacos with beans and rice, and I love some tortilla chips and hot salsa. Now, I'm to date probably about 90% plant-based still, but cheese does sneak in every once in a while, and you know it is what it is. I have to do what's best for my gut health. But I eat a lot of pasta. I love doing an olive oil and balsamic pasta with garlic and sauteed Roma tomatoes. Again, I'll do a lot of rice with some steamed broccoli. I will do a vegetarian chili, like an all-bean chili, which is, you know, black beans, kidney beans, tomatoes. I use vegetable broth. There are just so many different options nowadays that people don't think about, but I still love tortilla chips. I used to be a potato chip junkie. But ever since finding out that I'm more sensitive to chips, not chips, but potatoes, that has kind of stopped. But I mean, it's hard. I know it's hard, and I never thought that I would be able to do it, but I did. And I mean, I still have cravings, believe it or not. I have serious cravings. For instance, what I would give to have a Pizza Hut deep dish pepperoni pizza, you know, with the crust, the bubbled crust, that would be delicious, but it would not be worth the agony that it would cause for sure. And then what else? When we cook bacon, I'm sorry, but the smell of bacon, just bacon, but I won't do it. Or my daughter when she'll have chicken nuggets. But my problem was when I was eating meat, that's the only kind of meat I liked, was the bad meat, the not good for you meat, the chicken nuggets, the fish sticks, the kid foods, the hot dogs, the bacon. I didn't even like good meat. I don't like fish. I did like crab cakes, which I don't eat anymore, but believe it or not, you can make crab cakes taste just like crab cakes without the crab, with chickpeas. I've recently found some things at the store where there's more like steamed broccoli covered in like a breading with some teriyaki sauce. There's just so much more that you can do. And I hope you guys are enjoying this video. It is long-winded, but that is the point, because hopefully you are wrapping your Christmas presents at the same time. So the next question comes from the Smiling Tabby. Stickers and more. You are so sweet. I always see when you comment. I pretty much know you all by your names, just so you know. I see the comments, and I so appreciate them. So she asks, let me write this before I forget who this present is for. What are some of your favorite scents? And if you're if you don't know, I am in the middle of starting a candle company. This is one of my scents here in my vessels, and still working on it. I did not get it finished for the holidays, but I mean, it is what it is. Is this already in here? Yes, it is. What was this? Okay, now I remember. But my favorite scents, I absolutely love lavender. Lavender, anything, is one of my most favorite things in the entire world. it is so delicious. So if I could have lavender everything, I would. So yes, I will have a lavender scented candle. I also really like, I don't really like fruity, or I like some spicy scents like pumpkin or apple. I like some vanilla, so like a lavender and vanilla, a vanilla and sandalwood mixed. This one is more of, oh, this one is my favorite. This one is like, so the smell of it and reminds me of if you were to, you know, I like grandma things. It's not like it's a grandma scent. It's a beautiful scent, but it's almost, it reminds me of a beautiful old lady who's always dressed to the nines, has lipstick on all the time. She's just the sweetest lady in the neighborhood. Everybody loves her. They know even if she's at the grocery store, she's dressed well, but she doesn't wear trends. It's all classic. She's had the same cashmere sweater for 35 years, and it's been maintained beautifully. And she's just a sweet lady. And almost if she's your grandmother and she were to give you a hug, that's what she would smell like. So it's not old cheap perfume. It's just this beautiful floral with a little bit of citrus in it. And when I was looking at the scents, I have tested over 90 scents for this candle company, meaning I've ordered the scents, I've made candles out of them, I've burned them to see how they were, how they would take, because I refuse to have a scent in my line that is burns your nose, that does not smell natural, that smells fake, that is overpowering, that is underpowering. And out of the 90 scents that I tried, I think I've narrowed it down to about, I think 16 to 18 scents that I have. They're beautiful. And I am super excited about all of them. But yeah, my favorite scents are lavender. Every single night I take, we were just at a festival and I was able to get some really nice skin safe essential oils from a kind of a, what do you call it? Just somebody who, a small business, there you go. And every single night, even my daughter, she comes and we do a little bit of lavender on our hands from the essential oil and a little bit of lotion, and we rub it together and we rub it, you know, right here, and it helps her sleep, it helps me sleep, and it's just one of my most favorite things. I would love to know what your favorite scents are. I have yet to ask you all. As I told you, I'm starting out slower with my candle business, and I only want to start out with 4 or 5 scents just to see how it goes from there, and then move on to adding more of the scents that I already have. I already have all of this stuff. I already have everything to make them. It's just I want to be a perfectionist. So what are your scents? Are you more of a masculine scent, you know, a woodsy scent? Are you more of liking the earthy florals or the earthy scents like the lavenders and eucalyptuses and the pines? Or, you know, do you like, you know, coconuts or fruity or feminine or floral? What are your kind of things that you like? Let me know down in the comments below. I want to show you guys like the best place to get you know, boxes for things that you want to wrap is the Dollar Tree. Seriously, these were $1. The blue one I just used was $1. This was $1. However, I do reuse things. Like somebody brought cookies. I think it was Cheryl's cookies to my office a couple of years ago, and they were like the stacked, you know how people buy those for, you know, vendors buy it for corporations or whoever, and this was filled with cookies and it had 3 different boxes, and this is the last of the boxes. I have used those boxes ever since. And then also get your tissue paper at the Dollar Tree. Walmart probably has better deals because honestly, they don't give you that many sheets at the Dollar Tree, but if you can, then do it. They've got some really super cute patterns. But getting back to it, the next question comes from Whitney. She says, what made you decide to stop coloring your hair? I think it's beautiful, and I'm currently growing my highlights out. So to talk about my hair is completely natural. I do not have gray hair. My mother turned gray really early. My dad never had, he had a couple of stray gray hairs in his eyebrows, which were like the wiry ones, which were so fun. To see, you know, old man wiry hairs. But I don't know that I'll ever turn gray. I might, and if I do, I will completely embrace it. I had a physician's assistant who I utilized who was my doctor. I just loved her to death. And she's probably in her 40s, you know, turning somewhat gray, and it was mixed with her brown hair, and I just thought it was so beautiful. But anyway, I didn't necessarily stop coloring my hair for the benefit of saving money. However, it does save me a lot of money. I've been going to the same hairstylist for 22 years, and absolutely love her. But here's the thing. Some people absolutely love going to get their hair done. I do not. I don't like to sit still necessarily. I don't even like to go get my nails done because it just seems like such unproductive time. It's never been enjoyable. Yeah, you get your hair shampooed. I'd rather have a massage if I'm really gonna, you know, sit down and relax somewhere. But you know, I like going just to be able to chat with her because she's been doing my hair for so long. So I guess when my daughter was born is when I decided to kind of stop coloring my hair because she came out with the same color hair as me, or as my natural color, and I just thought, seriously, I cut this one wrong again too. I just thought, you know what? I want to embrace the same color hair as her. And to be honest, I hadn't seen my natural hair color in, at the time, 20 years. I had been coloring my hair that long. So it was highlighted, and I just let it grow out. And I don't know. I embraced it, and I love it. And luckily, I stopped coloring my hair, you know, probably a year and a half, 2 years before the salons were shut down for so long. So it kind of just worked out. But I think, you know, if you're wondering, just embrace it. It's just hair. Just let it grow out. Let it grow out naturally. It may look weird for a little while because of, you know, the differences in the color. But, you know, if somebody has their own opinion about that, just move on. You know, that's their opinion. It's not their business. Happy Being Me wrote, yes, I would love for you to do a Q&A. Also, I tried finding the brand of jeans you mentioned you buy and you've tried them on. I was wanting to order a pair but can't find the video. Gosh, I have mentioned those jeans in so many videos that I'm not sure which one I even tried them on in. However, they are called Democracy Absolution. And they are my favorite jeans ever because they don't feel like you're wearing jeans, but they look like jeans. And you don't end up with poopy pants at the end of the day, you know, where they stretch out so far that they no longer fit your bum. And they feel so comfortable around the waist because they have this built-in, it's kind of like an elastic, but they're not elastic, they're regular jeans, but it's not an uncomfortable elastic. It is just the most cozy thing, and I tell you, you could eat a holiday meal and still have them buttoned. I usually get the skinny ones. They come in jeggings. They have some straight leg ones. They have girlfriend styles. I have had them forever. They maintain their color. They maintain their shape. You can probably, with inflation, they've gone up a bit. You can find them on Amazon. So if I can find them, I will link them down below for you. But I am 125 to 130 pounds, depending upon the day. And I'm 5'4". I carry most of my weight in my bottom. So these jeans actually look great, and I wear a size 8. For reference, I also don't like things too tight. I can wear a 6, but I'm not trying to be uncomfortable. So, Democracy Absolution is what they are called. Okay, the next question comes from Michelle, and she says, she asks, how do you find contentment in stuff you already have? and not always desire something new. So how do I find contentment in stuff I already have? Well, this took time. It took me discovering myself, but what I realized was that you cannot find contentment in things. So if you're looking to find contentment in things, whether they're things that you have or things that you want to get, then you're not going to find contentment. What you have to realize is that contentment comes from you being content with who you are, with your decisions, with your beliefs, with your position in life, and realizing that life is a journey. We are here to experience. We are here to learn lessons. We are here to, these are obviously my beliefs, to complete some stage and lesson of life in our journey during this time that we're here on earth. And things are just things. They can come and they can go, and you can lose them tomorrow. I've never been a person to put value in things. I can throw something away tomorrow and not feel bad about it. For instance, yesterday, I misplaced my sunglasses. Nice pair of sunglasses. And I had treated myself to them. And yeah, I was bummed because I thought I'd lost them. I couldn't find them. But I didn't let that feeling sink into me because it's just things. So luckily, I realized they were in my jacket pocket, so I did not lose them. However, you just can't put your contentment in things. And if you are feeling as if you are putting your contentment in things, you need to do some internal searching. You need to find what it is that you're actually looking for, what it is that you are uncontent with in your life, whether that's your current job, whether that's a relationship, whether that's your finances are depressing you. Find something, do some inner searching, honestly. When I picked up yoga, when I picked up meditation, and yeah, this can seem kind of, I guess, broadened. I've really come into myself in the last 18 months, and a lot has changed for me in good ways because I've realized things. So I still like things. Don't let that pass you by. I still love things because I can find joy in them. And I think that's okay. I don't think you should feel bad about it. I don't think you need to be a minimalist and sit on the floor. I like sitting on the floor, but I have plenty of chairs. I don't think that this whole minimalist aesthetic and, not having anything in your home is necessarily good for your soul. I think you should have the things around you that make you happy and make you feel loved, but I don't think you should find contentment in them. So if that's a good enough answer, that's what I have to say about that. The next one, Christine Bynes asks, could you talk about how you and your husband went about deciding and setting the goal of paying off your mortgage early? Have you had any luck with your vegetable garden, and is there anything in particular that you find to be a valuable, easy crop? Thanks. Christine, thank you so much for your question, and for the fact that you've been watching my videos. I know you have, for the fact that you saw that I mentioned the garden. So, just go to about the first part of your question. So this came about, I didn't grow up, again, we grow up, typically believing in the things we're taught by our parents, friends, society, etc., and never knowing any different. And unless we are open to learning something different, then we stay closed off to other people's ideas. And we want to poo-poo anybody's ideas that are different from what we believe. And I'm not about that. I'm a very curious person. I like to hear other people's ideas. I like to learn. I've always been that way. That's just a part of who my soul is and why I've come here. And I think part of why I've been brought onto this YouTube platform to share that information. But basically, randomly, my husband's very into numbers. He's very into investments, into stocks, meaning conservatively, but he deals with the mortgage. I don't deal with it. I deal with enough financial stuff at work that I'm like, I don't want to deal with the details of it here. Well, he has always been of one to pay things off. He's the one who taught me that, you don't have to have a car payment. I thought when I first met him, you have to have a car payment. Everybody has to have a car payment. You always have to have a car payment. Everybody always has a car payment. And I never even imagined that I wouldn't have a mortgage for 30 years. I thought eventually you pay it off, and by the time you pay it off, at that point you retired, right? But he's the one who taught me you could pay cars off. You could pay cash for a car. And he's just always been, I've been very lucky in the fact that he's taught me that, or he's brought that to our life. I've also taught him to be frugal in certain ways where he wasn't frugal before. For instance, he would go to the grocery store as a single guy 3-4 times a week and spend so much money. I've taught him not to do that. That's just one example. And I think that's just a benefit of finding your partner in life, and you learn from each other and you grow. But he was randomly one day, he's talked to me. He's like, well, guess what? Look here, if we keep putting this amount towards the mortgage, we could have it paid off by, I think the original date was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years from now. We could pay off, it was our 30-year mortgage at the time. And I said, huh? So that was the first time that had been brought to my attention. Well, I said, well, what if we put more towards it? What if we put this amount towards it? And he has this spreadsheet, and you can just find it. It's easy to find an amortization spreadsheet online where he plugged in those numbers, and the year started going down. Well, I started looking at the budget and seeing where we could pull more money from, and thought, well, what if we put this much towards it each month and this much towards it each month? And the more and more that we did that, the more and more we saw the years going down. I'm making a bow. That's why I'm looking down the entire time. See? And I just thought that was the coolest thing, that, oh my gosh, you don't have to have a mortgage in it, later on in life. You can pay off your mortgage quickly. It's not a sentence for always, owing to somebody. Anyway, so that is how the mortgage payoff thing came about. It's just, you've got to open up your mind to possibilities. Don't just, I can't stand it when somebody just, I bring up an idea, and somebody just immediately, no. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. The reason is because, they did not even take the time to consider the possibility of whatever it is idea that you brought up. And that just brings such closed-mindedness to me that I can't be around people like that, and I can't stand people like that. So if you're open, that's the best thing you can do. All right, Panisha, I love you. You know who you are. And if I'm saying your name wrong, privately email me and tell me phonetically how to say your name. You are the sweetest thing. I am so proud of you. I am proud of you for moving out on your own. I am proud of you for passing your exams. I wish I knew you in person. And I know that you are the sweetest thing, and watch my videos super early in the morning because we're in such a time difference. But she says, I'd love to hear random facts about you so we can get to know the frugal queen yourself. Well, I don't find myself to be a frugal queen. However, I would love to do a random facts video. If you guys would like me to do that idea and like this kind of a chatty thing, then let me know down in the comments. So I've got 3 more questions, and I'm going to try to get through them quickly. That way this video is not an hour long. Pat Wagner. Oh, Pat, so sweet. gosh, I can't think of any questions but asked, but I'm interested in watching the video where you answer questions viewer have asked. I learn so much from hearing what other people do, etc. So please do a Q&A. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Well, not a question, but I hope you have a wonderful weekend, Pat, as always. And thank you for always being so sweet and kind. Holly Hawk writes, I would like to know what products you use for your hair. It always looks so shiny and healthy. Well, one question answered. I do not color it, so that's one reason it's always healthy, but it's very simple. I use Pantene. That's it. I use the moisture renewal. I find it usually on sale at Aldi. That's it. I even use the Pantene hair spray. That's it. Super simple. Easy peasy. I think I have done a Frugal, I have a video of Frugal skincare or Frugal beauty favorites, etc. Then you can check that out to see, specifically. You can look at what I use. I have it linked in that video. The last question that I'm going to answer is from Mercedes. What is your general budget for things? How are you paying down your mortgage so quickly? I would love to learn how you were doing it so quickly. Well, we are doing it so quickly because what we have done is established how much money we need to put towards it to reach our goal. That is the first thing you need to do. But we do not, as we've grown in our careers and have made, job changes or adjustments or brought on second jobs or side hustles, etc., we have not let that affect what we spend. We maintain a budget the same regardless. So, for instance, some people might get a new job and think they need a new car, or some people might decide that they're making more money, so now they need a bigger house. That's not what we do. We pretty much spend the same amount of money on things that we did 10 years ago. Like, obviously inflation, etc., that kind of stuff. But believe it or not, I used to spend a lot more money on groceries 10 years ago. I would spend $150 a week on just the two of us because I wasn't embracing my frugal upbringing. Now I spend about $100, and we have over the last 10 years, we've more than doubled our income through just hard work and side hustles, etc. So you can imagine the difference in saving that amount of money. So as far as how much we budget, for me, let's see, talk about gas. If I think about my car, if you want like specific numbers, I budget about, for gas now that I do have to drive further for work, I fill it maybe once a week. It's about $40 for my vehicle. So what's that? $160 a month. We budget about $350 a month for utilities. We have gas, water, and electricity. So obviously we have gas, heat, and we have obviously our electricity is for the summer. Sometimes that gets busted, sometimes it doesn't, meaning the budget, but around $350 covers that. Our mortgage is $1,600, I think. We're on a 15-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.65%, I think is what it is. And then we have no car payments, no credit card payments. We have specific amounts that we put in savings accounts. We have our daughter's 529. We don't go above and beyond for presents on people. We still buy for the same amount of people that we did before. That's pretty much it. I mean, as far as specifics of our budget, groceries, I usually, with groceries going up, that and gas. So those are the two line items in my budget that have had to inflate. I spend about $110 to $115 a week on groceries, if not less, when I try to shop at Aldi. So that is one area I'm still trying to make sure I, keep under control. And then that's about it, honestly. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and Also, subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you back for more videos.